Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We have a lot to talk about today, but before we get into it, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons on your screen. Like because this is gonna be a good video, trust me, and subscribe because you love me and the feeling's mutual. Well, it has been a little while since I last made a YouTube video. I'm not trying to slack off, guys, I promise. I have a genuinely good reason why I haven't been able to make a YouTube video in a little while. My computer broke. Well, I don't know if it broke, it just stopped charging. Like, I plug in the charger and it just doesn't work. This band-aid keeps coming off. I have a pimple here that's not very pretty. So I tried to cover it up, but I didn't shave my neck, so the band-aid won't stay on. Unfortunately, I am too poor to get a new computer or to fix the one that I have, so I just haven't been able to do anything as far as like editing YouTube videos and stuff. But I discovered there are apps that you can use on your phone for editing videos and stuff. So I'm gonna try to do that and see if it works out. And if it works out well, then I'm gonna keep making more videos and nothing's gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna hold me back. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming and tuning in for today's video. Today, I am going to be ranking Japanese BLs of 2022 in order from my least favorite to my most favorite of the ones that I've seen so far. There's a spider right here. I hate spiders. This is a BL channel after all, so I'm gonna do what I do, which is talk about BLs. So yes, I'm gonna be talking about Japanese BLs today, and this band-aid is really bothering me, so I'm just gonna rip it off, and if this pimple bothers you, deal with it. I'm sorry. I have issues. Anyway, moving on. I have only seen 7 Japanese BLs this year so far. There is one that I'm currently watching, which makes it 8, but I have only seen 7 so far, which is kind of sad and unfortunate because I think there have been a lot more Japanese BLs released, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of other BLs, like Thai BLs and Korean BLs and Taiwanese BLs, even Filipino BLs. So I've seen a lot this year. So please, please, please don't mind that I've only seen 7 Japanese BLs. So I'm only gonna be ranking the 7 that I've seen, and in no particular order, here are the BLs I'm gonna be talking about today. So we have Sasaki to Miyano, A Man Who Defies World of BL 2, Mr. Unlucky Has No Choice But to Kiss, Cherry Magic, Old Fashioned Cupcake, Minato's Laundromat, and Senpai This Can't Be Love. Those are the BLs I'm going to be talking about today. If you have seen any of these BLs and you have any thoughts or opinions on them yourself that you'd like to share with me, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. I am a very simple person. I don't have like very strict rules that BLs have to follow for me to enjoy them. I just like BLs. I watch them and I like them. Well, some more than others. But there are just a few criteria that I'm going to be using for ranking these BLs today. It's nothing too crazy. It's just some simple little things. So first of all, the overall aesthetic and vibe of the show. This is something that's very important to me. I'm a vibes kind of person. So I really enjoy shows where I'm able to pick out exactly what the vibe is, and it's a vibe that I enjoy. See, very simple. The next criteria I'm gonna be using for this is the overall storyline. There are some storylines in BLs that are much stronger than others. And so that's something that I'm gonna be using to kind of decide these rankings. Like I've said, I'm a very simple person. I don't really care for crazy, big, extravagant storylines. Like RuPaul said, you ain't gotta reinvent the wheel.
Ain't nobody gonna reinvent the wheel. You ain't got to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already reinvented.
The wheel is fine as it is. You don't have to do some groundbreaking, crazy storyline. I mean, it's fine if you do. I do like when the storylines are a bit different and out of the box, as long as it's done correctly, because some people try to get too ambitious with it and they go real crazy with it and then it's super confusing and I can't follow along at all. That's a problem. Another thing is, like, some people go way too simple with the storyline. I know I'm a simple person, but if it's a really, really super simple, boring storyline, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard for me to get into and for me to follow along. Which, disclaimer, I don't always watch every single BL all the way through. Sometimes I get into it and it's just so boring or so confusing that I just cannot keep watching it, and so I stop. Oh, I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to that. Anyway, storyline. That's gonna be another criteria that I use for this video. And the final criteria is just the dialogue, which kind of goes along with storyline. I really want simple, easy to follow dialogue. I mean, not super cliche, but just simple, just something I can follow easily. I feel like a lot of times people speak in riddles in these shows, and I hate that. Don't speak in riddles to me. Just say what you want to say and let me understand what it is. Straight, simple, point blank. I hate riddles, so please, none of that. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, one more thing, chemistry. Chemistry is a really, really big and important thing for me. Chemistry between the two main actors, they've got to have good chemistry. Yeah, and that's it. Those are just the criteria that I'm going to be using for these rankings. Very simple. Well, we should get right into it. I'm excited to talk about these. In 7th place on my list, we have A Man Who Defies the World of BL Part 2. Yes, this comes in 7th place for me. Honestly, I really liked the first part a whole lot more than the second part, which I feel is kind of a bit of a problem. Because, hear me out, listen. I feel like if you're gonna do a season 2 or a second part to anything, that second part has to be better, has to be elevated, has to be, I don't know, it just has to be better than the first. And if it falls short of the first, it loses points for me. And that's exactly what happened with A Man Who Defied World of BL 2. First of all, the humor kind of ran stale for me, honestly. I mean, I really enjoyed the humor in the first season. It's very just like crazy, chaotic humor, which I really enjoy. Believe me, I love that kind of humor. And what's his name? The main actor, I don't remember his name right now, but his like over exaggerated expressions and stuff, it's just so funny to me. The problem is in the second season, they just did the exact same thing. Like, we were trying to laugh about the exact same things as the first season, and it just wasn't, it didn't hit as much anymore for me. You know, like, you know that video that kind of went viral of those two guys hitting each other, laughing, rolling on the floor, and going all chaotic and everything? That's kind of how the first season was for me. But once you've already seen it the first time, it doesn't hit as much the second time. And I feel like that was kind of where the problem was for me. It was too similar to the first time. I did enjoy the character progression. I will say this, I feel like the main character kind of evolved a little bit. I could see some character growth in him because, I mean, in the first season, he was like hell-bent on trying to avoid any kind of BL situation in this world of BL that he lived in until he finally accepted his own feelings for another guy. Of course, that didn't work out because the other guy's ex-boyfriend came and ruined everything. And in this second season, he went on a new resolve to once again avoid the world of BL. But it was a bit different this time around because he wasn't so crazy about it as the first time, like trying to dodge and avoid every single situation. I feel like this time around he had a little bit more empathy for people who were in those kinds of like relationships and stuff, and I don't know, I felt like I saw some character growth in him. But I can't say the same about his relationship with the other guy. Honestly, I wasn't into it. I just didn't really care for them as a couple anymore because, like, first of all, the other guy barely ever showed up in the whole show, only where he was needed. And I didn't feel any kind of connection between them, any kind of chemistry between them. I didn't see any storyline develop between them. So I just wasn't into it. There was another couple that I was a bit more into, like the main character's little brother and his little brother's friend from school. I was a bit more into them because they had a better storyline for their relationship. They had highs and lows in their relationship, and it was more enjoyable to follow along. I did really enjoy the show overall. It was great. I laughed. I still laughed. Not as wild and crazy as I laughed the first time around, but I still laughed and I still really enjoyed it. And I watched it all the way through, so yes, that's good. But it just comes in 7th place for me because there were a lot of things that were just kind of off, and yeah, that's just what it is. If I were to give this show a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. Let's move on to the next show in 6th place. Coming in 6th place on my list, we have Mr. Unlucky Has No Choice But to Kiss. Honestly, the majority of the appeal of this show for me comes from the aesthetic, the vibe. Oh my goodness, I loved it. The way they played with the color scheme of the show, I don't know what you call that. The color story? I don't know, whatever you call it. It was cool and it was a vibe and I was really into it. Just very light, sort of, it's like dark but light, playful colors. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It was pretty. As far as the actual show itself, I also did enjoy it. I found myself anticipating the next episode each week, so I feel like that's kind of a good thing, right? There were things that were just really off for me. For example, between the two main characters. So the two main characters, we have Kota and Naoya. I don't know how to say his name. Kota is the one who's super unlucky and Naoya is the one who's super lucky, and Kota has to stick with Naoya so Kota doesn't have as much bad luck as he normally would. Kota asked Naoya if they could stick around each other, and Naoya mistook that as a love confession and said, yeah, sure, let's date, and went in for a kiss. And then Kota could have really very easily just cleared that up and be like, oh no, I meant let's be good friends. But he just left it and went on to date Naoya, even though he wasn't really interested in dating Naoya at the time. What I really didn't like about this show is that stupid little innocence thing that they do. It annoys the out of me, honestly, because like these are literally two grown-ass adult men. They're in college. And Kota acts like it's a freaking crazy thing to kiss a person. Like, excuse me? Even just to hold hands or to be close to each other, he would always overreact about these like situations where Naoya just kind of goes in to be a little closer to him. It's not like they're about to like, Naoya is literally just going in to like do something as simple as hold his hands, and he gets all crazy and goes all like, whoa, what is happening about it? And I'm like, you're not a child. I really don't like that. I'll be honest. And a lot of BLs do this and it annoys me. Not so much anymore because these days we see a lot of BLs that go a bit wild. I mean, Exhibit A, Ken Porsche, the series, and the one that's currently airing, Love in the Air. Oh my goodness. But anyway, that's besides the point. I'm not saying that y'all need to have sex on screen. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying that you don't have to act like freaking children. Like, you're not children, and you don't have to act like it's such a big, crazy, insane thought to hold hands with someone or to kiss someone. And Kota did that a lot, and it really annoyed me. But overall, it was still a good show. I mean, the storyline wasn't that great, honestly. It was just what it was. But it was still mostly enjoyable, and I was still really into it, and I still anticipated each new episode, and I watched each new episode, and I was happy with it. So yeah, 6th place. If I were to rate this one on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. And now we're gonna move on to our 5th place for the list today. In 5th place, we have Minato's Laundromat. This one just finished airing not that long ago. I enjoyed the first part of it a whole lot more than the last part of it. The first few episodes, I was definitely more into. The last few episodes, way too slow and way too annoying. But let's get into that. So Minato's Laundromat is about Minato, who's this guy. He's like, I think he's like 28 or 29 years old. Anyway, he was living in the city working a desk job, and it was really stressful, and he passed out. And then he decided to go back home to his hometown and take over his grandfather's laundromat, just live a hometown simple life, which is such a really cute and cool thing, honestly. I mean, the city is great, but I would totally go live in like a little small hometown somewhere, you know? Just somewhere chill and relaxing, away from all the crazy drama and everything. As long as it's not too far from the city, because I do like to drive into the city a little bit every now and then, you know, go shopping. Ato's living at home, and he runs into this high school boy who's 17 years old at the time, and his name is Shin, and this whole show is basically just Shin, a 17-year-old boy trying to chase down a 28-year-old man. Of course, you can imagine that it's probably a little problematic. Not just a little problematic, it is problematic. I was kind of worried about that going into the show. I was like, we cannot be encouraging these kinds of relationships in 2022. We shouldn't have been at all any year, but we especially should not be encouraging things like that right now. So I was really worried about that going into the show. However, they did talk about that. Minato did emphasize that he couldn't date Shin because Shin was a high schooler, even though he did say that Shin was totally his type at first. He did talk about that and say he couldn't do it, and they never actually got together until Shin had turned 18 years old and he had graduated from high school and all of that. So I guess there's that. Come to think about it, this show was filled with so many problematic relationships because Minato was in love with his teacher from high school when he was just 17 years old. And then Minato was being chased by Shin, a 17-year-old. And then Shin's classmate, Asuka, was chasing down a Shu, who was Minato's age. And then Shin's little sister was into Shu as well, who was Minato's age. So I'm like, this is a whole lot of age inappropriate relationships. What are we doing here? But I did still really enjoy the show overall. I did not like how pushy Shin was sometimes. And this is true. Shin was very borderline pushy sometimes, and I was like, you need to dial it back a little bit, okay? Dial it back. But Shin was very straightforward, and I did like that. I like people who are very straightforward and say exactly what it is they want, what it is they feel, and stuff like that. So I like that. Minato, he was cool, and I just really like his energy. Minato has a beautiful, great energy, but I hated him for that whole thing that he had going on with his teacher. That was stupid, useless, unnecessary, and I did not care for any of it. Because first of all, you're a 28-year-old man. You should have gotten over your high school teacher like 10 years ago after you graduated high school. So I don't understand what this whole thing is about. Also, how can you just not know how to communicate? Like, you should have been over this man a long time ago. Why is it so hard for you to just talk to him about it? Also, the teacher was just so stupid and clueless and just zoned out and just, I don't know, I hated it. I really hated that whole thing. That whole storyline dragged out for the last like 4 or 5 episodes of the show, which is why I just did not like those last few episodes. But the very last episode I enjoyed. So I liked the beginning and the very end, but I hated all the stuff right in between. It comes in 5th place for me, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give this one a 6.7 out of 10. Wow, we're really getting through these. In 4th place for my list today, Japanese BLs of 2022, we have Senpai This Can't Be Love. This was a BL I really enjoyed. The humor was great, and I love the kind of humor that this BL served. Absolutely beautiful. I also love the characters. I feel like this is one of those BLs where I saw character growth in both, well, actually more so in Canada than in Yanase, but I still saw character growth, and it was the kind of growth that I really enjoyed. It was great, really, and I don't really have much to say about it, honestly. It was cool. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was simple to follow along, which is really important to me. The story wasn't too complicated. I enjoyed the chemistry between the two main actors, and I really liked it overall. There's not a lot of bad I can say about it. There's not really any bad I can say about it because it was mostly just good. But I guess it's fourth place for me because it wasn't great. Like, it didn't push it like all the way. Like, it was good. It wasn't all the way great. You know, like, it was cool, simple, good. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. Yes. In third place for Japanese BLs of 2022, for me personally, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of this video. These are my personal rankings. I am not trying to say like these are rankings for everybody. This is just how I feel about these BLs. So I'm not like speaking for everyone. I'm not the end all be all of knowledge of BLs. But yes, so in third place, I have Sasaki to Miyano. I really liked this BL. First of all, it's an anime, which I really enjoy. It's not the first BL anime that I've seen, but it's one that I really like. The aesthetic, beautiful aesthetic. The colors, the way they played with the sparkles and stars and shimmers and all of that. It was cool. I really like that. I like how they play with that. It's cool. And oh my goodness, I feel like this is one really cool thing that animes do a lot. You're really able to tell the aesthetic when you're watching an anime, like even down to the hair color of each of the characters. Like, for some weird reason, the character's hair color always matches their personality. Like, yes, that character is supposed to have blue hair, and yes, that one is supposed to have bright orange hair. I don't know, it's weird, but it just works. They do it so right. It just works with the characters. And then they have like eye color that matches their hair color. It's great. It's all great. So this BL is about high school students. They're in an all-boys high school. Fun fact, I went to an all-boys military school for 1 semester back in Nigeria. My parents said they wanted me to kind of toughen up a little bit, so they sent me to an all-boys military school. I was only there for 1 semester. This was a good show. They were in high school, and Sasaki and Miyano kind of built a bond over BL mangas because Miyano was a really crazy BL manga fan, which is really cool. But yeah, so Sasaki found out about Miyano's BL manga addiction and decided to ask for some recommendations, so they would talk about it all the time and kind of do all of that. And then they also rode the same train to school every day, so that was kind of cool. Anyway, they got to build a relationship first on that and then kind of evolved into something more. It was kind of hard for Miyano at first to accept that he liked Sasaki, which was so interesting to me because I'm like, you read BL mangas all the time. Why is it so hard for you to accept that you like a guy? Because he kept saying, I like girls, I like girls. I'm like, dude, you literally spent your whole school day trying to ship your classmates with each other, and you can't even accept that you like a guy? What? Anyway, he did come to accept it eventually. I feel like that was a little bit slow. That acceptance was a little bit slow. But I still loved the show. I loved it so much. I wanted to keep watching more and more and more of it. I thought all the characters were great and so likable. Like, even all the like side characters, they were also likable. Like I said, their personalities just really come through, and that's something I live for. And they're fun and cool and chill, and I enjoyed them, and I enjoyed the show, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Wow, we are down to our final top 2 Japanese BLs of 2022. In second place for Japanese BLs of 2022, I have Cherry Magic. Cherry Magic was great. I loved this BL. It was absolutely stunning. And I might even go as far as to say this was not just one of the best Japanese BLs I've seen this year. This was one of the best BLs I've seen this year, period. It was absolutely great. I loved the storyline. First of all, it was kind of funny to me when I figured out the meaning of the name of the show, Cherry Magic. So the show is based on this urban myth in Japan, that if you turn 30 while you're still a virgin, you get magic powers. And so that's why it's called Cherry Magic, because your cherry hasn't been popped yet. It was so funny to me. Anyway, I really like the way the story progressed. So Adachi is this really shy guy at work. He's like kind of a loner and kind of a loser at work. And he turns 30 and he's still a virgin, and he gets the ability to read people's minds by just like coming in contact with any part of their bodies. By some chance, he's in an elevator with Kurosawa. Kurosawa is the most popular guy in their company. He's the top salesman or something like that. Adachi discovers in the elevator that Kurosawa has a crush on him. And Adachi's like, what the fuck do I do with this information? They start having more and more interactions with each other, Adachi and Kurosawa. And every time Adachi like reads Kurosawa's thoughts, and Kurosawa is like crushing hard on him. Kurosawa's like, he really is like so obsessed with this man. And it's like, it's so funny because Adachi's reactions, his over-exaggerated reactions whenever he reads the thoughts, are just so hilarious. And then Kurosawa, his thoughts are just so innocent and so pure, and he just really liked Adachi, and it was so cute. Anyway, they begin to form this bond with each other, and it was great to watch. The progression was really beautiful. And I also have to say, character growth in both of them, absolutely amazing, because Adachi, he literally changed so much. He went from being this shy person at work that gets taken advantage of all the time and is just kind of a loner, and he just like really opened up. He became more outspoken and stood up for himself a bit more. He even entered a whole competition where he had to do like a presentation and stuff at work. It was cool. Like, there was character growth. And Kurosawa, he was always this kind of like the most popular guy at work, just this perfect kind of person. But we got to see a more playful and vulnerable side of him as the show progressed, and I was really into that. I loved it. Where it did lose some points for me though is the relationship between Suge and his mailman. Suge is Adachi's best friend who also turned 30 while a virgin. The relationship between Suge and his mailman, I just wasn't really into that. And it was just like a side story that I just didn't really care for as much. And I mean, I did enjoy Suge's overreactions sometimes, but sometimes it was like, chill the fuck down. But I guess we got a kiss out of Suge and his mailman, and we didn't even get one out of Adachi and Kurosawa, which I have to say is another thing I absolutely did not like about this show. Why are we not getting kisses in BLs in 2022? Why? Like, seriously. I mean, is it so much to ask for to just have one kiss, at least one kiss, even if it's an awkward, not so good kiss? Like, just one kiss. Anyway, besides there not being any kissing in Cherry Magic, it was still a great show, and I absolutely loved it. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give this show a 9.3 out of 10. And now we have our final first place winner for Japanese BLs of 2022. Can I get a drum roll, please? Old Fashioned Cupcake. This show was perfection. From start to finish, I loved it. Every single part of it. It was so great. I loved the main actors. I loved the supporting actors. I loved the storyline. I was into everything. The vibes were immaculate. The dialogue was great. Oh my goodness, don't even get me started on the dialogue. I literally saved some quotes from this show because the dialogue was that good. But let's talk about the storyline, okay? So this is a story about Nozue and Togawa. And Nozue is an almost 40-year-old man who has been kind of stuck in a rut and is kind of going through a midlife crisis because nothing in his life is changing and he's just kind of boring and he's bored. And Togawa, his subordinate at work, who also kind of likes him a little bit, decides to bring him out of his shell and to help him with anti-aging activities, things to help him get over his midlife crisis. Things like going out on cute little dates to eat desserts and taking pictures and selfies and talking about people that they're in love with and stuff like that. And it was absolutely great. I mean, I kind of felt like I wanted that too. Like, I need some anti-aging activities. Anyone want to go get desserts with me and take cute selfies while we anti-age together? It was honestly great because I felt like there was such a perfect balance between a really important message and keeping it lighthearted and funny. In case you're wondering, the important message is bending societal norms as far as like aging and gender and stuff like that. Because they were doing things that would normally be considered things that young high school girls do. They were doing those things and really enjoying them, and it was really helping them like come alive and really find beauty and joy in their life. Well, Nozue especially, because he was struggling. He was going through midlife crisis. I don't know if maybe the reason I just really love this show is because of the maturity of it, the maturity of the characters, because I mean, this is one of those BLs where the characters are older. Like Nozue is about to turn 40 and Toga was about to turn 30. And most of the other BLs that we see are with younger kids who are like in high school or they're college students or they're in their early stages of their career and stuff like that. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I just really gravitated to this, because I just felt like more maturity from the characters. Another reason I really liked the show is because the main characters had amazing chemistry with each other. And they were also just so beautiful. Really good looking characters. I was really into it from start to finish. I anticipated every single episode. I wanted to see more and more. Plus, it kind of inspired me a little bit too, because I'm like, life is too short to take myself way too seriously all the time and to be bored and to be boring. I need to go out and do stuff and like engage in anti-aging activities myself. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this show a 10 out of 10. Yes. I've said before, I'm a very simple person. So yeah, this show gets a 10 out of 10 for me. I love it. I love every aspect of it and I was really into it. And yeah, it was great. Well, that is it for my list of 2022 Japanese BLs ranked. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really enjoyed ranking these and talking about them, and I hope you guys did too. And I would like to hear your thoughts on them as well. If you would like to let me know what you think, how you would rank these personally, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. I'd be happy to read through it. And if you have any BL recommendations for me, maybe ones that weren't on this list that you've seen and that you really enjoyed, go ahead and leave that in the comments for me too. I would be so happy to check them out. Like I said, right now I am currently watching a Japanese BL that is airing on Viki. I don't remember the name of it, but it's pretty good so far, so I'm excited to talk about it later on. In my next video, I will be ranking Korean BLs of 2022, so that's gonna be really good and you do not wanna miss out on that one. So stay tuned, look out for that next video. Check out other videos that I've posted so far on my channel. Stick around for more, subscribe, like, do all of that. And check out my Instagram at Danny_EJAY and give me a follow there. I'm a very friendly and nice person, I promise. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video and I will see you guys next time. Bye!